I'd work my ass off, save up the money, and I'd spend it. And it was gone. And I might have felt good for a little while, but I wasn't using it to create wealth. I was using every cent that I was earning to just live a lifestyle. And like most people, I started living a life that was beyond what I could afford. We've done some work for some very highly paid professionals. Yes, they earn a lot from their job, but they don't know it either. They don't know that wealth is created by how you spend money, because they spend the money faster than they make it. If you show up to work with that sort of mindset, that is going to lead you to creating more wealth, and you commit to being consistent and implementing what you learn. Don't hold back. Being wealthy isn't hard. G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of Level Up. We are back in the shed today for another cracking episode. We've been getting asked a lot for some more individual, just me chatting podcasts. People seem to be getting a lot of value out of it, so that's pretty cool. So today I wanted to talk about something that I wish I had learnt 20 years ago instead of about 5 or 6 years ago, and that is that wealth is created by how you spend your money, not by what you earn. This is something that I've really sort of struggled with for a long time. I was brought up, if you've been listening for a while, you know my story. Like I just was brought up to work hard, and I thought that the only way to be successful, to get ahead, to reach my goals, to be able to buy the things that I wanted to buy, was to just work my ass off. And for so long, like in my early days contracting, and then even when I started becoming a builder, I saw value in an hourly rate that I got paid. But the thing is, an hourly rate will cap how much you can earn, because you can obviously only do so many hours before you burn yourself out. And so if you can only do so many hours in a week, and you can only charge so much for your time, then you're going to really restrict what you can earn, until you get to a point where you might employ some people. You might have some contractors or employees, apprentices working for you, and you'll be able to pick up some extra money by charging them out at a higher hourly rate than what they're costing you. A little bit off topic, but I see so many people in the construction industry that feel like they're making a lot of money because they might be paying their apprentice, I don't know, let's say they're a third year or whatever, and I don't know off the top of my head, they might be getting $24 an hour or something. And they feel because they're charging them out at $35 or $40 an hour that they're making a substantial amount of money on top of that, when in reality, they don't actually understand that if by the time they pay all their super, their work cover, they cover all their inefficiencies and the actual hours that the apprentice won't be working, which in most scenarios adds up to, I think, approximately about 11 weeks a year. They realise that if they're charging out at $40 an hour, they're actually costing themselves money. So that's a whole other podcast. We'll get into that another time. But the thing is, I used to set goals. I wanted to buy toys, motorbikes, cars, boats, all those types of things. And I got stuck in that cycle that I just thought the only way to achieve them was to just do hours, do massive hours, get paid for those hours. And then as my business grew and I ended up with a lot of carpenters, I thought I was making a lot of money. And look, to most people, I was making a lot of money. At the peak of my carpentry business, when we had 40 plus carpenters, and I managed to build some really good relationships with some big developers, and I ran a really good crew, and I even thought at the time like I was making a lot of money, because I was charging every one of my workers out at like $75, $90, $95 an hour. And like I'm going back 15 years. And I got myself into a lot of trouble because I just thought that all that money coming in was mine. I didn't understand taxes and work cover and all those types of things. But I also wasn't being, I guess, I didn't have the knowledge to know how to spend that money to make money. And so I was like a lot of people. I see so many people these days, and this is the reason I want to do this podcast. Not only because a lot of people reach out to me these days to ask me how I've achieved everything I've achieved and how I run my businesses and how I built my wealth and all those types of things. I just see this happening all the time, and even in my own team, which I'll talk about shortly. But the thing is, I just I'd see a new whatever, it might have been an F truck, and I just wanted that F truck, so I'd work out how many hours I had to work, and I'd work my ass off, and I'd save up the money, and I'd spend it, and it was gone, and I might have felt good for a little while, but it wasn't I wasn't using it to create wealth. I was using every cent that I was earning to just live a lifestyle, and like most people, I started living a life that was beyond what I could afford. And then you get caught in a trap where you are just constantly working to pay back debt and to pay for a lifestyle that a lot of the time isn't even the lifestyle that you want to be living. You're living a lifestyle to keep up with the Joneses, as they say. Like you always think the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. So you're working hard to purchase things that you feel like you need and you feel like you want, but reality is you don't truly want them. You're purchasing them to look good, to feel good, to keep up with the friends or family that you associate with. And I'm telling you from first-hand experience, it's a terrible way to live your life, and it's not going to create wealth. It's not going to allow you to be successful. Um, and look at value. Everyone sees value in different things, but I wish I had learned. Like I'm not sure why or how it came about, but I've just continued to work very hard and put money into different things. I think having a family has definitely changed what I spend my money on and what I see value in. But I don't know, something clicked in the last sort of 4 to 6 years, and now every cent that I earn is put into creating more wealth. And it's incredible how quickly you can accumulate wealth when you're actually spending money on the right things. And so that's what I wanted to talk about. Like, wealth is definitely not created by what you earn, and it is definitely created by what you spend it on. And I think over the years, I've seen a lot of the clients that we build some pretty incredible homes for, like multi million dollar homes. And over the years, working for these clients, like I've always been one to ask questions and reach out and have conversations with people and build relationships with our clients and talk about business and things. And something that I've really became aware of is most people think that the only way to be successful or to become wealthy or to be seen as somebody is by what they earn. And like some of our, like I don't know if I should be talking about some of our clients, and well, I won't name names or anything, but we've done some work for some very highly paid professionals. And the thing is, yes, they earn a lot from their job, but they don't know it either. They don't know that wealth is created by how you spend money because they spend the money faster than they make it. And I think this happens at all levels. It doesn't matter whether you're a child getting pocket money, whether you're an apprentice earning like a low wage, whether you're a labourer or whether you're a doctor or a lawyer that's earning $500,000 a year or possibly even $1 million a year. It really doesn't matter how much you make. It completely depends on how you spend it. And I think it actually gets worse. Like the more money that people earn from their day job, if they don't have a mindset about how to create wealth and how to manage money, then the more money gets wasted. And we've seen this a lot of times with some of the clients that we've built some multi million dollar homes for. And it really blows my mind that people that have worked their way up, or I guess, I don't know, I've changed my whole mindset on this. I used to say smart enough to be able to earn a lot of money, but it's got nothing to do with being smart. I think these days, the more common sense you have, the more money you make. But that's my own opinion on that. But it's it blows my mind how people waste their money. And I think back to like the first 15 years of me running my business, it's all I was doing. Like I didn't understand the value, the true value of money. And I've talked about it a few times on the podcast before. Like something that's really, really changed my mindset on money and wealth is the Audible book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. It's a really long book, but highly recommend reading it or listening to it. It will completely change your opinion. Well, it did mine anyway, and really opened up my mind and my eyes to how the world works when it comes to money. But just to talk about, I guess, how different people value money. Um, like I see it in apprentices all the time. Like they don't earn a lot of money, but they spend all their money on shit that they don't need, and a lot of the time they can't afford. Instead of spending the money on things that can actually make them more money, and this happens at all different levels, but with apprentices, I see it a lot of the time. Like if you have two apprentices and they're earning the same amount of money, but one guy is more interested in drinking and pissing it up on the weekend with his mates and trying to make out that he's, I don't know, doing really well in front of his mates and girls and things, and not putting money back into the way he presents himself at work, the tools that he buys to be able to do his job better, to show his boss that he respects him and that he wants to get ahead in the trade. You're probably not going to go a long way. But if you're an apprentice that is quite tight with their money, lives more reserved life, and understands that you've got to put money into buying tools so that you can show up to work and do your job adequately and not have to be using all the tradesmen's tools all the time, that in itself is adding so much value to your employer and the other contractors or employees that you're working with, that you may not think it, you may not realize it at the time, but if you show up to work with that sort of mindset and spend the money on the tools and all those types of things, that is going to lead you to creating more wealth, because it will lead to more job opportunities, your promotions. Your boss might sign you off earlier from your apprenticeship because he'll see that you're driven and that you want to achieve. You're there because you're passionate about it. You're there because you believe in it. If you're just pissing up the wall and not really paying too much attention to it, that's not really reflecting on you well in your work environment. So that's one example. Another example is if if you're not putting money back into, like, so say you're a carpenter or something, or some sort of tradie, and you're working for an employer. If you're not, again, it's a similar situation. If you're not putting money back into, like, maintaining your work vehicle to make sure that you can show up to work on time and be at work every day, if you don't show up and present well, if you don't look after your tools and equipment, if you're not buying the right tools and equipment to allow you to do the task on site that you're meant to be doing for your employer, again, there's two different types of people. Like if you're the guy that's just not interested, you're not putting in the effort, you're not buying new tools, you're not maintaining your tools, you're not maintaining your vehicle, you're not showing up all the time because your vehicle breaks down, it's a reflection and on you, and it won't allow you to progress. Your boss won't give you promotions. Your boss won't help you achieve your goals. But if you're doing the opposite and you're buying tools, you're showing up on time, your car looks good and it's nice and clean all the time, you present well, you're buying more tools than what you need on site to be able to smash out your work efficiently and in a quality way, then again, that's your boss will see that, and that's how you'll progress. You'll get bonuses, you'll get pats on the back, you'll all those types of things. But it goes right through life, and as you become a business owner, you might work for yourself. If you just continue to work your ass off all the time, but then you don't understand the value of that money you're earning, and again, it's the situation is very similar. It doesn't matter how far down the road we go, but you can do the exact same thing. You can be working your ass off, thinking that you're doing well, but all you're doing is getting in debt to the eyeballs. The more you earn, the more you borrow. And instead of, like, you might have a home, but you might spend a lot of money on that home. You might fill that home, like, you want all the best gadgets all the time. You want to keep up with the Joneses. Um, you're buying a new vehicle all the time. Like, you on face value, you just want to look pretty. That's not creating value for yourself. Whereas if you're working your ass off, you're putting in the good effort, you're building up your business, you're earning more money, and yes, you're buying a house, you might buy the new vehicle, but you're not living beyond your means, and you're actually investing some of your money back into yourself, into whether it's into training or whether it's setting up a savings account that will allow you to build up a deposit to buy an investment property or something like that, rather than just throwing it away on eating out all the time, going to the movies all the time, going on regular holidays. So I guess a lot of this comes down to, I talk a lot about what you see value in, and look, some people see value in living a higher life than what they can afford. They like being out all the time. They like on face value it looking like they're doing really well, and but then behind the scenes they're probably whinging that they can't afford things, they can't pay their bills. Why have I never got any money? Um, so it's a tricky one, but the reason I wanted to do this podcast today and to talk about this is because this sort of stuff, I think that the reason it's really clicked with me in the last sort of 4 to 6 years is when I started getting in my late 30s, and then when I turned 40, it was like, holy shit, like, I've had an incredible life, I'm doing really well, but man, if I want to achieve the life that I want to have, if I really want to have the things that I want to have, I need to knuckle down. And that's when I really sort of started seeing value in different things. And I guess another example, one of those things was superannuation. And look, I think it's hard in the building industry. I didn't get paid super. I got paid it while I was an apprentice. When I became a contractor, I probably had a good 8 or 10 years where I didn't get paid superannuation, and our industry is pretty bad for, I guess, employees trying to dodge and work around so they don't have to pay superannuation. And these days, I think it's a horrible thing. I think every employee deserves to get all the benefits that they should be getting. So, but I really see value in that now. So, like, these days, in across all my businesses, we pump as much money into superannuation as we possibly can, right up until to our limit before we have to start paying more tax and stuff on it. But the reason I do that, and the reason, this is probably one of my biggest regrets, is that I didn't understand how all this worked earlier. And so now we're really focused on every year putting as much money as we can in super and topping it up as much as possible to put our maximum amount in before we go over the amount that you have to pay more tax on it. And then we use that money, that superannuation, in a self-managed super fund to create more wealth. And look, I'm still learning. I'm definitely no expert, but the more I learn about it, the more hungry it makes me to do more in my super, because the more I invest in my super, I can then use that money to purchase shares, or what we've been doing over the last couple of years is purchasing properties, and those properties will go up in value for the next 10, 20, 30 years until I'm at a point where I want to access my super. And there's going to be a pretty substantial amount of money in there. Whereas if I hadn't started to get my head around all this and understand how it all works, I would have just been doing what everyone else in the building industry does, only putting the bare minimum into my super, not understanding the full benefits that I can get, and how much it can affect my future wealth. So again, this is where it comes back to. It's not how you, it's got absolutely nothing to do with what you earn, it's how you spend it. And every single person out there, it doesn't matter whether you're an apprentice, a contractor, a business owner, like whatever you are, you all have decisions to make about how much money you put into super. And look, I would definitely put my hand up and say, reach out to your accountant, look into it, and it's definitely beneficial to put as much money as you can into super, especially if you're like I am and you're now in your 40s or mid 40s, and just realize the true value of your super and how it can help you in your future, with your family and your goals and those sorts of things. Um, Another one is like, and again, this, like everyone thinks, I was exactly like this for a long time. I used to think that because I earn a certain amount of money, then I would only spend a certain amount of money, let's just say, whatever, with lawyers, accountants, with all these people that we really should have around us. But these days, the more that my wealth grows, I've realised you've got to spend good money to make good money. And so don't cut corners when it comes to, like, I thought, oh, look, I only earn this amount of money. Why should I spend that much money? Like, is it going to benefit me more to use this person or that person? And I can 100% tell you that the more money you spend, you search around, you find quality people, it will help you speed up your wealth. So don't cut corners on lawyers and solicitors or accountants. Spend money with good people, with good firms. And like these days, I've got an incredible accountant um, that just has helped me so much build my wealth. And I lay out, like, we have regular meetings, and I lay out my crazy ideas. I put my expectations, like we've just finished a financial year. So prior to the end of financial year, we had a big meeting and we talked about what was coming up and what we could do with the money and all that type of thing. But more importantly, now to start the new financial year, I've I've laid it all out for them. So I've told them the money I want each of my businesses to make, the forecast we have, the properties I want to put, like the value of property I want to have by the end of this financial year, the value of the businesses I want to have by the end of this financial year. A plus on top of that, all the new ideas I've got floating around, so that they can work with me to create a strategy to whatever, whether it's set up different companies, different entities, to make sure that when we achieve those goals, the money is siphoned through the right channels to get the right outcome. So it costs a lot of money to have accountants that will sit down with you, have those types of meetings, and work with you on a regular basis. But believe me, that money is well worth it. Rather than just sitting back, not spending the money, and just waiting for them at the end of financial year to say, hey, send me all your paperwork, I'll do your tax. It's too late then. You can't build wealth if that's how you're working with your accountant. The other one is lawyers and solicitors and those types of things. With everything that I have going on now, with developments, with businesses, with property purchasing, whether it's buying, selling property, all those types of things. Like, I literally talk to my lawyer at least once a week. I ring him up to get advice. I run things by him. I check on other deals that we've got progressing. And look, that costs me a fair bit of money to have a lawyer that's pretty much on call to be able to help me out with what I need help with, to get to where I want to get to. But again, it is money that is well spent, because if I wasn't spending that money, I wouldn't be getting the quality advice that I'm getting, and I wouldn't be getting to the levels of wealth that I'm getting to on my own. So yeah, reach out, spend money with the right consultants, with accountants, with lawyers, solicitors, financial planners, like all those types of people you need to have in your corner if you truly want to create wealth. Um, and look, anyone can do this. It doesn't, something I've realized now, it doesn't matter how much you earn. Like, don't think just because you're only earning whatever it is, 60, 80, $100,000 a year, that you shouldn't be spending reasonable amounts of money with better firms. Because believe, like I said, the more money you spend to get better advice, the quicker you're going to achieve goals, the quicker your wealth's going to grow. Um, the other one that is, like, I bang on about it all the time, is personal development. And this is one that I would like to encourage every person in the world to get on board with. And I definitely, if I don't have regrets, but if I did, it would be that I wish I had started this personal development journey a lot sooner than I did. Since I've been spending money on myself, it's everything has changed. My relationships have improved. My wealth has improved. Just the whole situation, like the contacts I get to meet and the people I associate myself with, are just the level is constantly growing, and I'm constantly getting up and up and up. And that that doesn't need you don't need to wait till you're earning $100,000 a year or $80,000 a year to invest in yourself. I actually encourage even my apprentices and um, my employees to do this these days. Like, even if you're an apprentice, like it is so easy to get into training and personal development these days. And like we see it on Instagram, there are so many incredible mentors and coaches and people around the world now that are putting incredibly valuable information out there. And most of the time, if you can't afford to turn up to it live, there's recordings of it, or you can jump online and do sit in on the seminar online. And look, there's been some pretty insane seminars over the last 3 or 4 years since COVID that, um, because of technology, like I haven't been able to fly around the world and make it to all of them, but I've been able to jump online and attend them through a Zoom. So, and look, you can do that for sometimes free, but a lot of the time $99. And that's why I'm a big believer. Like there's no excuses. You can't say that you can't afford it. And like I said, it doesn't matter what you earn. Like you could be earning $500 a week, and you could find $99 to spend on a course that will change your life. And it's literally that simple. But the thing is, with the money, like over the last probably 3 years, 4 years, I would estimate that I've spent over $500,000 on personal development, business coaches, mentors, courses. I've paid some big money to be in some one-on-one coaching, over $100,000 on individual coaching. And look, the information you get at that level is insane, and it's definitely helped me with my property investing and my wealth development. But the biggest thing is you've got to pay to play. And when you spend that money, it's not like, yes, you get something out of the course, you get something out of that mentor, you get driven by being around those types of people. But the best thing that comes out of it is the people that you get to associate with. And look, I talk about it all the time with my Live Life Build business. It's why our building members do so well, because they're surrounding themselves with incredible like-minded people. And so that happens at every different level. And if you've ever heard people talk about spending $100,000 or $250,000 to get an hour of somebody's time, man, back in the day, I used to think that was nuts. But these days, like I would absolutely spend $250,000 to be in a room with the right person, because you sit in that room for the hour, you have a notebook, and you write as many notes as you possibly can, and you will definitely get the $250,000 worth out of that person. So, look, again, like I said, wealth is created by how you spend money, not how you make it. And the more you pay to play at all levels, the quicker, faster, the better knowledge, the better experiences, and you will absolutely smash it out. And I just want to encourage everyone, like, don't hold back. Like, being wealthy isn't hard. You just need to, I guess, break a lot of old-fashioned habits and break the old stories that you've been and beliefs that you've been brought up around. Like that was my biggest holdback on all of this stuff. Like I was always brought up to believe that that's just a rip-off, or that's just a con, or that's not going to work. But if you're in that mentality and you're in that mindset, it will never work. That's one thing I can guarantee you. It will never work if you go to something thinking like that. But if you flick the switch and you pay good money to go to good seminars and surround yourself with incredible people, you be open-minded, you take a notebook and you write lots of notes down, and you commit to being consistent and implementing what you learn, this is the key. Like, so many people get given quality information. Like, you ever think about it? These days, all the information you want is literally on Instagram. Like, you could spend an hour on Instagram tonight, look up motivational posts, go and check out some like Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, like all these big names that are doing incredibly well in business. And you could get so much information purely just off Instagram. But the thing is, most of you will sit back and just keep flicking. You won't take it in, you won't write anything down, you won't take any notes, and you won't implement anything. And that's the biggest problem. You've got to be consistent, you've got to show up, and you've got to implement what you're being told. But guys, look, I hope that gives you a little bit of encouragement and a little bit of an insight into how easy it can actually be to create wealth. It has absolutely nothing to do with what you earn. And look, I talk from personal experience. I lived up until 4 to 6 years ago, my whole life the focus was always on, oh, I'm earning 80 grand a year. Oh, I'm earning 100 grand a year. Oh, I'm earning 150 grand a year. Oh, I'm earning 200 grand a year. And it was never enough. I didn't appreciate it. I didn't truly understand the value of money. And I was spending my money on the wrong things. We've definitely done all right over the years. We bought a few investment properties, but it was always stretched. It was always like, oh, we're earning more money. Let's get into more debt. Let's go and buy another property. How much can we borrow? And it was stressful. It was very, very stressful. So look, spend your money, associate with the right types of people, go to seminars, reach out to people, don't be afraid to ask questions, and spend your money on different things. Don't go, actually, before we wrap this up, like this is one that I actually want to talk about today. I feel all about it. Like, I hear so many people, the car thing, like it's the way the world works. It's all an agenda. Like, you go and buy a new car and you take out a finance lease or you lease it through your business, whatever it is, and whether it's 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years, and you just get stuck in this cycle. And then say it's 4 years, you go back in 4 years, you trade it in, you think you've got a great number for it, that comes off, you purchase your next vehicle and you get locked straight back into another finance deal and you go again. So, and you're never out of it. And I know people that have been in that situation for decades. Like, they're up to their 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th car. They've never owned a car. It's all financed and they just keep rolling it over. And it's always the same old story. Oh, we write it off on business, we write it off on tax, and it's a business cost. That's all bullshit. Like, if you want to create true wealth, you pay things off, and yes, there is certain things that you buy through the business, and you do get deductions, and you save on tax and all those sorts of things. But there is good debt and bad debt, and I think the biggest problem with it is that people don't understand the debt they're in. And a lot of that debt, when you get into with cars in particular and all that, it's very high interest. And like I said, it's an agenda, and they want to keep you in that cycle of just turning over and never being out of debt. You just keep rolling it onto the next vehicle, and then you go again, and then you go again. And that's a horrible cycle to get stuck in. So, yeah, look, guys, spend the time, spend the money, and do some homework on this sort of stuff, because believe me, it's really exciting. Like, when you understand, probably the best person you can spend some good money on to start with is a really good accountant. Find an accountant that you can sit down, you can chew their ear off, and you can talk about all these things. Talk to them about buying vehicles and what you can write off in your business, and depreciation and tax, and creating passive income, and setting up company structures, and so you can get the benefit out of all the tax and all those types of things. Because believe me, there is a whole other world out there of ways that you can create wealth that you would never, unless someone would tell you, unless you ask a question, you will never know any different, and you will just be stuck in the agenda that the world has for you, which is to always be in debt, to always be paying things off, and to never have true financial freedom. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed the podcast. If you've got any questions, happy for you to reach out. Look, I'm definitely no expert on finances and accounting and creating wealth. I'm simply just telling you my opinions and my story of how I've got to where I am. And I want to see everybody be successful. That's why I put this information out there. It's why I share it. It's why I talk about the experiences that I've had so that you can have them as well and create true financial freedom for you and your family. Guys, please share, like, comment on these podcasts. If you haven't gone to the DuaynePearce.com website yet and purchased your merch, make sure you go and grab it, because it is, I'm sitting here, it's pretty chilly today. I got the old hoodie on. So go check it out, and we'll catch you on the next one.